Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi. You are watching MNT News Network. Today is Sunday, and every Sunday we have discussion in English. So again, we have new subject, and today you can consider like today is Sunday. So Saturday it was the 15th of the March. This is the date for the birth anniversary for the Kansiram. So on that occasion, we are going to discuss related to that subject. Subject is on the screen. Role of Saheb Kanshiram in the creation of Bahujan movement. And we have eminent speaker today, Mulnivasi Dr. Sanjay Ingole sir, who is a National Vice President BAMCEF. So we will be discussing this topic with him and the role of Saheb Kanshiram in the creation of Bahujan movement. So topic itself is very important for us. So let us invite today's speaker on the screen and let us understand the role of Saheb Kanshiram in the creation of the Bahujan movement. This is a very, very important topic in the current scenario, and we want to discuss this. So I'm going to invite the speaker. Sir, Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi. Sir, you are mute. Kindly unmute yourself. Still, yeah. Now it's okay.
Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi.
Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi, sir. Yeah. So on the birth anniversary, this role of Saheb Kanshiram in the creation of Bahujan movement, we have kept this topic and we are going to discuss in detail. The first thing that I would like to understand from you is the Bahujan movement itself. Yeah, I mean, what is the Bahujan movement? What was the need of it, and what is the aims and objective from this Bahujan movement? So, this is a very, very basic question from where I am just trying to indulge into that, and then we will dive into the more detail going to that one. And I am very thankful to you that you have joined today for this discussion. So please go ahead and then please explain us. Yeah. Thank you so much.
See, uh, apart from being a activist in Bahujan movement, I'm also a teacher and student of social movements. So now, before whatever I say about Bahujan movement, I must say one or two line about what is social movement,
Sir.
and because that will then qualify what I say later.
Yeah.
So the uh, social movement we must understand, because most of many of our people, they must know the clear concept of the social movement,
Yeah.
what is to be called social movement and what not to be called social movement.
Right.
uh, Basically, social movement must include an element of mass mobilization, because it is a collective effort. Social
Yes.
movement has to be a collective effort, and to bring change in the thought, beliefs, values, attitudes, relationship, and major institutions in the society, or to resist any change in the said elements of a social system. Bloomer in 1951, he defined social movements. He says that movements is a collective enterprise to establish a new social order of the life.
Right.
It, the way the society is living today, if it is needed to be changed, then it should be changed. And for that, you need a mass collective action to bring new thing in the society.
Right.
Whereas Toch in 1965, he's also a sociologist, and he has very clearly said social movement is an effort by a large number of people to solve collectively a problem they feel they have in common. It means the Bahujan movement, if it is a social movement, as we
Yeah.
understand, it started with a context where Bahujan means the large number.
Yeah.
So majority in number. Majority people in Indian context were facing problems even with the new constitution that came up as a result of the social movement called independence movement in India against the Britishers. So when Britishers went, it was expected by people that now we have a new social order, we have a constitution, and we'll be living happily. But that could not happen. 10 years, 15 years passed, but the dream of the constitution was not being realized. And therefore, those who were the sufferers and the victims of the social order which is against the constitution, which is resolved by the people of India, and it very articulative, artistically, it has been stated in the preamble of the constitution, we the people of India, right?
Right.
We, so the people of India who had promised themselves to create a new social order, create a new society based on the justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity, to protect the dignity of the individuals and remain united as a nation, unity and integrity of the nation. So that dream in the constitution was expected to be realized during a course of say 5-10 years, but it could not be, and the society uh, was functioning as usual in the Brahminical mode of its operation. Means the principles of the relationship between the citizens of India were being followed by the people in the mode of Brahminism, that is the spirit of inequality. Brahminism is a system of graded inequality, and that was being followed in all social institutions, in all social aspects of living of the people. And that was troubling people because they were given a promise by the constitution. When you have given a promise to somebody, and the Britishers, through the system of education, they had created a lot of intellectual people in the society, and that intellectual lot, which was again byproduct of the movement of Phule and Ambedkar, not just the opportunity given by the Britishers.
Sir.
Either they open an opportunity for the education to run
Okay.
their business, but our forefathers used that opportunity of education to enlighten our masses, to solve their problem. Their problem was to run their business. Our problem was to solve the problem of our society here in India. So our forefathers, prior to Phule and Ambedkar, it was run by our great leaders, spiritual leaders like Kabir, Raidas, and all those
So,
gurus. We call them
yeah.
gurus or teachers.
Right.
But in modern India, when Phule and Ambedkar made all efforts to take education to the masses, the real people of this country, the indigenous mass, the
Yeah.
aboriginal people of this country, and a class emerged, a educated class emerged, and that class could understand the dream enshrined in the constitution, and they were always looking towards having that social system, but it was not happening. And rather, those who spoke about that, those who oppose the Brahminical system, those who oppose the inequality and oppression and discrimination in the society, they were being cornered, they were being punished. If they are in the government system, they were being punished by the code of discipline in the government system. And those who are in the society, if they raise their voice against the social arrangements, then they were being brutally murdered, and they were brutally beaten up and threatened. So
Okay.
all those things were happening. All atrocities were happening in India. If people are raising their voice against inequality and they are not following the Brahminical order, they were being tortured like anything. They were being the atrocities were being committed against them, and that was the context in which the need of Bahujan movement has emerged.
Hmm.
And that emerge in the mind of the intellectual class, the learned and educated people of the India, the original inhabitant of India, particularly in the terms of the constitution, the backward and minority classes, communities.
Sir,
So
one
that,
question, sir.
yeah,
What do you mean by here the word Bahujan?
yeah, I'm coming to
Yeah.
that. So backward and minority communities in India uh, were the victims of the Brahminical social order, and they constitute larger number. Scheduled caste 15%, scheduled tribe 8% around, then OBCs 52%, and then minorities 10 to 12%. So they are around 90%.
mm,
The government itself stated that they are 85%. Their
mm,
population, as per the government data, comes to 85%. So they form huge majority in the Indian population, but they were being tortured, they were being oppressed, they were being discriminated against, and atrocities were being committed against them by the Brahminical social order, using the constitutional and institutional authority and power and force. The system, Brahminical people, they were trying to threaten them, oppress them. So in that context, these people together, they, when they interacted with, the like-minded and the victim lot, they could understand that no, this is not to be done, because constitution permitted us, constitution promised us to have a new society, but it is not happening. In that context, a incident took place in Pune, through which the concept of Bahujan movement has emerged. An incident in the defense establishment of the Pune operational system of the government of India, defense system, that DRDO and the ammunition factories. There, one of the very ardent follower of Ambedkar and this movement, Full Ambedkarite movement, T.K. Khapade, he was leading the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people there, and in that office premises, government office premises, uh, he and his colleagues, they wanted to celebrate Ambedkar birth anniversary,
mm,
Jayanti, and they also wanted to have holiday on Ambedkar Jayanti to participate in the larger celebration procession in the city of Pune.
mm,
But the establishment was not permitting.
mm,
And they, being scheduled caste, scheduled tribe people, their representatives in the employees union in that office were not there, because unions were being largely headed and led by the Brahminical people, in the fold of communist, and in the fold of Congress, and in the fold of, say, other Brahminically monitored and established unions. So they were not there. They are just voter for those unions, but they were not
yeah,
being represented there. So Khapade thought, we must send our representative in the management, so that through management we get a holiday on Ambedkar Jayanti.
mm,
And that was possible not through the officer rank in the office, because they were part of the unions which are recognized there. And
mm,
Scheduled Caste Scheduled Tribe People's Union were not recognized. They were not even having registered union. They hardly were permitted to get assembled through SC/ST associations, which
mm,
are not considered as union. So Khapade Saab thought we should have a union, and that was possible through the organization of the fourth class employees who were there. We call them the Safai Karmacharis. Okay,
mm, mm,
so the Safai Karmachari association was possible to be established as a union there in the office. So he thought of that, and for that he prepared Mr. Dina Bhana, who was a supervisor by that time. He was previously a sweeper in the office, and then he became, through promotion, when Kapade Saab took him to a night school in Pune. So he got educated to fourth standard, and then he was made, when he was writing and reading well, the office made him supervisor of the Safai Karmacharis.
mm,
So sweepers. And Khapade prepared Dinavana to be the leader of the Safai Karmacharis there, and then through that they established a union there. And for that union, Dinavana became a leader, and then Dinavana could get entry into the management of the institution as a leader of the fourth class employees in the institution. And then he demanded that on 14th of April there should be a holiday for the people who
Okay.
belong to backward and minority community who celebrate Dr. Ambedkar's Jayanti. But the management did not allow that. They created hurdles. He demanded again, and then when he uh, registered his dissent, and he said, "I will not sign this calendar for the year, holiday calendar for the year, if his demand is not accepted," because there were holidays on Christmas, there were
Hmm.
holidays, say Eid, there were holidays on Ram Navami, but not holiday on Dr. Ambedkar's birth
Janti.
anniversary. So he
Yeah.
demanded that in the management, and the management rejected his demand. He rejected to sign because that paper has to go to the upper administration of the institution, and therefore the director of the institution, he was in fix. He was in problem. He asked Dinavana to sign. Dinavana said, "No, I'll sign when you give me the holiday on Ambedkar's Jayanti." And that
Okay.
issue was not being resolved there. In that issue, when Kapade and Dinabhana were trying to solve, and Dinabhana said, "I'll not sign." Then the management decided to issue him a false notice that he's not doing his job properly in the office, and through that they suspended Dinabhana.
Hmm.
Now, again, that issue of suspension, removal of suspension of Dinavana was going on. And in that matter, one day, in a very hot dialogue with Kanshiram, was also working in that same office. Khapade and
Hmm.
Kanshiram, they were working on the same table, on the same position as junior scientist in that office. And but Khapade was deeply into the movement of Ambedkar, and Kanshiram was not having any clue about Dr. Ambedkar's movement. He had his friendship in high caste people there who, because he had an interest in sport. He was a sport fellow actually. So
Yeah.
he was playing with them in the evening hours. So he was part of, say, football club, then tennis. He had very very liking to the tennis. So he was going to Gymkhana there, and therefore he was not associated with what Ambedkar and his movement is.
Hmm.
But in the process, one day when he ridiculed Dinavana and Kanshiram for not being able to solve the problem, he said, "Dinavana, you should go and touch the feet of that director, and he'll remove your suspension." And that was taken by Dinavana, took it very offensive, and then Dinavana responded to it. They were going to the canteen, and when they sat in the canteen for afternoon lunch, Dinavana stood up in the canteen, and he very loudly said in the public to Kanshiram, "Hey, Kanshiram, you know, you know that you are not disclosing that you are scheduled caste. I know you are scheduled caste fellow, and your name is Kashiram Ramdasiya. Ramdasiya means Chamar. In
Hmm.
northern the Ramdasiya Chamar."
Yeah.
So he in Hindi said कि आप रामदासिया हो, किसी को बताया? So then Kanshiram was shocked by his intervention. And in public, when nobody was, majorly people were not knowing that Kanshiram is scheduled caste, because his physics, his body, his
Yeah.
personality, he was like a general person, like a Rajput or a
Yeah. Yeah.
Brahmin. So when Dina Bhana in public said in that canteen that you are Ram Dasya, means Chamar, then Kanshiram stood up. He thought, now anyway I am exposed, and then I should stand by my people. So he stood up
Hmm.
and he went to Dina Bhana and Khapade. They were sitting on other table, and he put his hand on Dina Bhana's shoulder and said, "Dina, today you have sensitized me. आपने
Hmm.
मेरा ज़मीर जगाया है. You
Oh
have
yeah.
sensitized me, and you have declared what I am,
Hmm.
myself. And now I am awakened about myself. So I should be the part of your movement." And
Hmm.
then some said, "Now I'll fight your case." He took 500 rupees note at that time.
Hmm.
500 rupees today, maybe 5,000 rupees.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he gave it to Kanchiram, I mean, the Kapade and Dinabhana, will go to the court. I'll fight the case against this administration. And they went to the court. Then Kanshiram started participating in that matter,
Hmm.
but and then the director summoned them, and he wanted to have dialogue with them, because Kanshiram was representing in office case also to Dinabhana. then on onward. And in a hot dialogue, Kanshiram and Khapade were inside the director's cabin, and Kanshiram uh, got angry with one of his comment that you people, you are untouchable people, like that he said. And
mm,
you know, you are my foot, something
mm,
like that he said, the director. Then Kanshiram got very angry and he caught hold of his collar,
mm.
and he pushed him like anything, and he bet him like anything, the director, and then threatened him he should not do
Mm,
it like that. And then after beating the director, they came out from that cabin, but the director then suspended Kanshiram also.
mm.
And Khapade was transferred to Uti, Karnataka.
Okay.
And Dinabhana already was on suspension. But Kanshiram and Khapate then took another line. They went to the political lineage of their known people. So
Mm,
Khapate was already working with the people, Republican Party of India. He was very close to Dada Saheb Gaikwad, who was the leader of Republican Party of India at that time. So
mm,
they went to Bombay also, and that time Speaker of the House was Rupavate, and he belonged to Republican Party of India.
mm.
Dada
Okay.
Saheb Rupavate. And R.S. Gawai, Dada Saheb Rupavate, these people from Republican Party of India, they were very tall leaders at that time, and they had a dialogue with the Chief Minister at that time, Chauhan, and they intervened from the Bombay, and suspension of Dina Bhana was removed. But
Mm,
Kanshiram said, I don't need any help. I am not going to join that office. I have
mm,
left that office on the very day when I fought with the director. So Kanshiram, from that incident when he fought with the director for the rights of our people, the operation that was happening in that office, the
mm.
false allegation against the Dinabana, and their adamantness to not give a holiday on Ambedkar's Jayanti, that actually generated uh, a feeling of agitation amongst them, and they thought we should run our movement. And when they
Yeah.
started doing that, they realized that only organizing scheduled caste and scheduled tribe will not serve our purpose. To influence the system and the government, we need to organize ourselves on large scale. We'll have to develop a movement. As
Mm,
these at the beginning, I read this philosophers, sociological philosopher. They said it should be a collective action, and a large number of mass should be involved to
right.
change the existing order. So Khapade and Kanshiram, they started thinking on that. And for that, when Kanshiram asked, you are asking for Ambedkar's Jayanti, let me know what Ambedkar is more.
Mm,
So Khapade Sahab gave him Annihilation of Caste, volume
mm.
1 of Dr. Ambedkar and writing speeches. That time it was not published, but
Yeah.
Annihilation of Caste was published separately, and that book Khapade Sahab gave to Kanshiram. And then Kanshiram read very peacefully. That time he was living with Khapade Sahab only in his house. Khapade
Mm,
Sahab gave him the corridor of his house, in just in the veranda. In the
yeah.
veranda, bag with one bag, Kanshiram was staying there, sleeping there, because Khapade was also not having good house. He was living in a rented house where there was only one room. So
Yeah.
his family inside and Kanshiram outside the house in the veranda. They started living there, and Kanshiram started reading, and they started dialogue with all leaders in the Pune city, political, social, religious movements leader there. And from there, the idea of organizing SC, ST, OBC, and converted minority as the major lot of the Indian population, the Aboriginal people of this country. And initially, they were calling them Shoshit Samaj, the exploited people, oppressed people.
Mm,
But later on, they realized that they are actually the majority of this country, and they should be called Bahujan, because that is the term Phule Sahib used in his movement. That is the term Phule Sahib derived, used from Buddha. And
yeah.
that's how the Bahujan concept of Bahujan movement has emerged. That the SC, ST, OBC, and minority communities in this country, they are the Bahujan, and they are the large population. They are the real population. They are the real public of India, and therefore they should be organized. And if they are organized, then their problems during that period of which I made mention at the beginning, that they are suffering from the problem, they realize their problem, and they thought we should develop a movement. As I mentioned in the beginning, that the torch said this: social movement is an effort by a large number of people to solve collectively a problem they feel they have in common. This is the concept of the movement. And they realize at that time, they have read these texts or not, I don't know. but By practice, by practical experience, they realized that we should organize large mass to protest against and bring change in the system, protest against the Brahmanism and bring the system up, constitution in India. That's how the movement, Bahujan movement, has emerged during the times of Kanshiram, and Kanshiram had taken a lead in that. Although Khapade was there as his teacher there because he was supplying him ideas, he was supplying material. But for leading a movement, you need a larger time, you need larger energy, you need larger dedication. And because Kapade was married, having small kids, so
mm,
Kanshira was giving more time, and Kapade was giving him the intellectual support, the material
mm,
ideas, and his experience, his connections, his networking in the movement, in the People's Part, this Republican Party of India, and their associates in Buddhist Society of India. He had
mm,
associates there also, the networking, and even in the local unions of the Karmacharis, the employees, other offices also. They started networking with them, organizing them. That's how the Bahujan movement in Pune city emerged, and they registered it as BAMCEF, a organization called BAMCEF, Backward and Minority Communities Employees Welfare Association, and that
mm,
later on became BAMCEF after 5 years in 73. It started in 64, and in 73 it became BAMCEF National Federation. The last two
mm,
letters, instead of WA, it became FA. Matlab
mm,
BAMCEF was BAMCEF, and then it became a national federation. And that actually led the Bahujan movement, and Bahujan movement has come to is full blooming in this country through
mm,
the effort of BAMCEF organization. So BAMCEF organization was created by Kanshiram, Dinabana, and Kapadesab together.
mm,
Although Dinabana was a fourth class employee, he had less access to the literature about the movement, the philosophical aspects of it, the critical strategic aspects of the movement, management aspect of the organization and movement. But morally, he was very instrumental in instigating Kanshiram, or generating consciousness in Kanshiram's mind to say him that who he is. And when
yeah,
he realized, I am scheduled caste and I belong to this large mass, I should lead them. That kind of a responsibility, sense of responsibility, ignited in the mind of Kanshiram, and the person who ignited that was Dina Bhana, and that was his role. But
mm,
Kanshiram, being a learned and educated person, having a good personality for influencing masses, put all his body and mind into it, and then therefore this movement, Bahujan movement, largely goes to his credit, although it goes to the credit of Khapade also equally, because they
mm,
together to form an organization, you at least need another person to discuss and decide a matter, right? And
yeah,
see, as the philosopher also say, it's a collective. So one man cannot run a collective business. So
mm,
to run a collective, you need persons to with you can sit and decide and then take it forward. So Kanshiram
mm.
and Khapade together, K and K, actually are the leaders and founders of this Bahujan movement in India. Thank you. I think I have taken much time to answer
Yeah,
this
I
question.
think, yeah, actually, I was not, just disturbing in the middle because the subject was such a basic and, deep rooted from the beginning itself. Our people must know that how this movement has started. Otherwise, I was going to, ask you many questions. But anyway, that has taken long time, but it is a very, very important information that you have given, and our people must know it. Uh, One thing is remain is that from this movement what we have started this movement, Bahujan movement, what is the aims and objective, what we want to achieve from this in a very
See,
very brief, yeah,
yeah,
just
in brief,
bullet points.
the very fundamental object of Bahujan movement is to bring social change in India. That is to end Brahminism
Hmm.
and bring the order of constitution. End Brahminism, bring the order of constitution. Constitution is a egalitarian system, a
Yes.
document which our forefathers had given their intellectual input, and we the people of India have adopted, and that is our dream. So to realize the dream of constitution is the aim of Bahujan movement in India, because there has to be India is a democratic society, and it is a representative democracy, not like a America represented by one person. It is represented by more than 500 people in our assembly, in our parliament and state
Hmm.
assembly. So we are a representative democracy, and through representative democracy, we want to bring into reality a egalitarian society based on justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, dignity of individual, unity and integrity of the nation. That is the objective of the Bahujan movement, because Brahmins anyway will not be now able to bring that, because they are the beneficiary of Brahminical system, which is now there in operation to a large extent. To some extent, we have curtailed them down through our movement. To some
Again,
extent, our forefathers and our saints and Baba Sahib and Phule, they have bring them down to a large extent. But still today, they are by hook or crook, by they are dominating the order in India. So this movement want to bring the social order as envisaged in the Constitution of India, as
okay,
that is the theme of the Constitution of India. That
got
is
it,
the
got it. Yeah, yeah. But you said that Bahujan. Here you said that Bahujan means ST, SC, OBC, and converted minority. Yeah.
yeah.
But why you are not including the Brahmins into the system itself? Is they are not part of this one either. What is your view at this excluding them?
Uh, See, when we say we the people of India, they are part of it.
Yes.
Now they are part of India, although they are not Indian. But in Indian constitution, there is a mention for the Anglo-Indians.
Hmm.
Part 16 of the constitution, the
Yeah.
president of India can now nominate two people in the parliament.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are in our country that we recognize. Our constitution recognize
Hmm.
this inflow of the outsider in this country, and they are called Anglo-Indians. So you
Okay.
are talking about actually Anglo-Indians. The
Yes.
Brahminical forces in this country, they are Anglo-Indian to the constitution.
Hmm.
So we are not against them, but we are saying that as per the rule of the constitution, as per the idea of the constitution, Anglo-Indian cannot be more than two in the parliament of 543.
Hmm.
If it is 600 and 700, as now there is a debate in the India that they will increase the seats in parliament, they could
Hmm.
be hardly 3 to 4, because the
Hmm.
population is 3.5. I can
Hmm.
say 4.
Hmm.
Uh, so they can be 3 to 4 people.
Hmm.
But they, they are huge, large majority in the parliament, and in society they are a minuscule minority. So a
Hmm.
minuscule minority is governing us. We are not against them, as if we consider them, say, say alien people to whom we want to kill. We don't intend to kill them.
Hmm.
We are followers of the constitution, and our constitution is largely inspired by the Buddha, the values and philosophy of Buddha. And Buddha says, in the matters of ahimsa, to bring peace, we should decide about the need and will to kill.
Hmm.
We don't wish to kill anybody, and we should not, our generation should not wish to kill anybody.
Hmm. Very important. Yeah.
Should not level any inhuman treatment to any human in the world, rather
Yeah.
any creature in the world. But if it is at all required to punish somebody who is disturbing the system, to
Hmm.
maintain the peace disturbing elements need to be uh, put in
Eliminated.
order,
Hmm. Put it on.
need to be disciplined. So through this movement, we will have to put them in discipline, because in this country, whatever communal violence is happening, whatever oppression is happening, what are atrocities happening, that is happening due to Brahminical system, Brahminical thought, and Brahminical people who are pushing that thought. So we need to put them in order, and
Okay.
therefore our movement consider them the people living here, but we'll have to put them in order. They cannot be the part of our organization, and we need not to be. We don't need them to be part of our organization to
Yeah.
run a movement for a change. We need, say if for 50% of the population, more than 50% of the population with us,
Yeah.
we can bring a new order. We can maintain the order of the constitution, and for that Brahmins are not required, whose population is very small in democratic politics. That small population is not needed for us. They
Okay.
may need our help, but for us to bring our order in the society, we don't need them actually,
Got it.
but
Yeah.
we need to put them on in discipline, and
Okay.
therefore we are not involving them. The disturbing element cannot be the part of the peacemaking force. Those who are actually
Hmm.
uh, deviant population, they are a deviant population, they are not following the constitution. It means
Hmm.
they are deviant population. Their mind and their thinking is abnormal to the democratic society. So
Okay.
abnormal mind cannot be a part of the normal mind which want to put society in peace. Therefore we don't need them. Some
Okay.
of them
Okay.
may be of a good
Yes.
sound
Yes.
mind,
Got. Yeah. Yeah.
but as a collective whole, they are putting disturbing element into our order. Therefore, we don't need them.
Okay. In brief, do you want to say anything more in the as a role of Saheb Kanshiram in the creation of Bahujan movement? Very brief because we don't have limitation of time. So,
Okay,
anything want
see,
to add it?
Kanshiram played a leading role. Sahib Kanshiram, you have written Sahib Kanshiram. We are
Yeah.
not writing Manyavar Kanshiram, because
Hmm.
that Manyavar word is, very Brahminical word.
Okay.
Manyavar,
Okay. Okay.
Manyavar
Okay.
is
Okay.
a
Yeah.
Brahminical word, and it's a very dominating and say monopolizing
Yeah.
terminology. But people in our Hindi belt, they
Yeah.
called
Call it.
many times as Manyavar. So Var means the husband actually. Uh,
Okay.
and the in the old system of marriages,
Yeah.
uh, uh,
I
so
think we'll leave
that's
that
not a good
context.
term actually in public
Yeah.
life. So we call him Sahib Kanshiram, means sir, kind of is,
Yeah.
we respect him. So
Respect.
Kanshiram played a leading role in our movement, the Bahujan movement.
Hmm.
Initially, although it was a Soshit Samaj Sangharsh, but later on it became a Bahujan Samaj. So creating the idea of Bahujan Samaj through party politics, BJP, BSP. Okay.
Hmm.
So through party politics, to conscientize our masses about the dream of constitution, and to help our masses to overcome the difficulties and agony which is inflicted on them through Brahmanism. Kanshiram played a leading role.
Hmm.
So that we cannot deny. And
Hmm.
every leader in his leadership will have some good side and some bad sides.
Right. Okay.
Every personality will have some weaknesses and some strength.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Kanshiram used his strength for solving the problem of our people. And the major problem at that time was our people never thought they can actually establish and run a national political party.
Yes.
That of block in mind. It's not our
Yes.
cup of tea. And
Great.
people
Great.
used to say during those days and today also, now without Congress, Congress is the national political party which has its branches in all villages. Without Congress party in this country, nobody other can rule this country, have no skill to run this country, have don't know how about the running of the business of the country. So it is the Congress through which you can play politics. That was the notion.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Congress, the Brahminical political party.
Hmm. Yes.
So Kanshiram broke that thought, that notion that
Hmm.
only Brahmins and Congress can lead this country and govern this country. Kanshiram broken that thought and that notion through establishment of Bahujan Samaj Party during that period, 84 to 94. And therefore, our people then could aspire and think more that yes, we can form a party, we can run a national political party, and we can actually think of controlling the governance, forming a government and controlling the whole nation. So that perception, that notion in the mind of the people, he changed. So Kanshiram played a great role in changing the wrong notion in the mind of the people that they cannot govern themselves. The
Hmm.
Bahujans, SC, ST, OBC, and minority communities can form their national political party and they can govern themselves in this country. They need not to be governed by the other people. They need not to be the slaves of the Brahminical social order and the Congress party and the now the BJP party. that is also another Brahminical party, the Communist Party, all these Brahminical parties. So that has given a birth to the political parties of the backward classes in India, the mushrooming of the political parties of the backward classes, regional parties of the backward classes in this country is the net outcome of the Kanshiram's leadership and the dedication he showed to the people of India. And therefore, I consider him as a great a person who has
Yes.
dedicated his life and his energy to broke the silence
Hmm.
and create the voice of the majority people in this country. That is the major role he played. That was the strong side of his personality and his contribution. Although we know that
Okay.
Mayavati became the weak side of his party and his movement, and
Uh,
that brought ruin
so
to.
next question is related to that one itself. If I
Yeah,
say that, what are the strength and weaknesses of this Bahujan movement? If
yeah,
you
yeah,
can,
yeah.
yeah,
So I was moving towards saying that Kanshiram's larger contribution is this, that he uh, took our people to a larger objective. Okay, Baba Sahib said in the very first protest on Mahad Satyagraha, water tank Satyagraha in Mahad, 1925 and 27, when Manusmriti was burned in 27. So that day he said, low aim is a crime, not the failure. Ambedkar said this.
hmm,
And this system of inequality, which is being operated through Manusmriti, is against humanity, and we should change this system. We should bring the system of equality for all, not only
hmm,
for the untouchables and the
yeah,
tribes and the minority, for all, including
hmm,
Brahmins. There should be a system of equality, egalitarian system, humanitarian system. So our movement inspired through that version of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, and Kanshiram used that version many a times in his life course, in training and all his deliberations. He said, low aim is a crime and not the failure. So he inspired our people to form a larger organization to be the rulers of this country. You
hmm,
know?
hmm,
So that is his strength. But what was the weakness? That in his very prime youth, he wholeheartedly and with complete dedication and commitment, he organized all the intellectual people in this country belonging to SC, ST, OBC minority, that is the Bahujan intellectual.
hmm,
But in the process, when you collect so many things, you will also collect something which is not known to you as not good for you,
hmm,
right? In
okay,
collection of good things, some raw material may come. So
okay,
Mayavati came as a raw material, and he had no time to actually shape that material. That
hmm,
was already shaped material. Mayavati came with her own objective to become, say, a political leader. She had her own aspiration, not to lead the Bahujan movement, not to solve the problem of the movement. She was, and she today also thinks of solving her own problem, that she is great and nobody other than her is great, and nobody other than her should issue any order, should any issue any statement, should issue any say opinion about the party. Her own nephew she removed. Before some days she removed her own nephew because he's
hmm,
speaking his own mind, and she thought he should not speak his own mind. He should speak what I say. And what she is saying, she says what Brahminical people dictate her, because now she
hmm,
went to a weak side when Kanshiram died. Because she was just leading a mass which Kanshiram gathered. She was not there to gather that mass. Kanshiram gathered a mass, and Mayavati delivered a lecture, and that became her very fond business
I,
to
I
deliver
I
lecture
was
and
going
all.
to ask another question here. Yeah. What
Because
is
she
your
was not,
views?
yeah, yeah, she was not trained. Mayavati was not trained. Kanshiram had no time and space to train her actually basic aspects of the movement, but he was using her as a orator and a woman element, woman
Yeah.
representative in our movement. And
Hmm,
when Kanshiram died, even when he was alive, Mayavati was not in a position to listen to him, because he made her chief minister. Then he thought she thought that now she is greater than the Kanshiram, and she started working on her own, not taking views of the Kanshiram to make decisions. Rather, she was taking decisions from the opposition, those who are giving some lubricant
Hmm.
opportunities to her. So she fall prey to the Brahminical incentives, and
Hmm.
through Brahminical incentives, she actually lowered down her stature. Kanshiram had taken her to a larger stature.
Hmm.
Her personality was taken to a stature that people were calling her as Iron Lady. And now, she, I think, whether she is a plastic lady or she is a wooden lady, we don't know when she will be fired and she will be finished.
I, I,
So
I
that she has lowered down her stature, which Kanshiram had taken up only because her ideological training was not up to that mark to maintain her dignity. And that has become the weak side of our movement. Kanshiram's weak side is the Mayavati. In one line, if you ask me what is the weak side of Kanshiram, Kanshiram's weak side is the selection of Mayavati as the leader of Bahujan Samaj
uh,
Party and Bahujan movement. And
related to this itself,
yeah,
another question. What is
uh,
your views about the hero worship, dynastic politics,
okay, okay, okay.
the feminism, and like what you call supremacy, supremo, this kind of politics is, what is your views on that? Very
See,
brief, yeah, very short.
very brief. See, for developing a mass movement, you need leader. That is undoubted. That is a requirement. You need a leader. But leader and leadership, they are processes, and there are phases of development of leader and leadership. So at least there are three phases in the movement. The first phase in the movement, development of the movement, is the creation of the charismatic personality to attract the mass, to
Okay,
attract the intellectual. Okay,
okay,
intellectuals and mass, you have to attract them. For that, you need a charismatic leadership,
okay.
charismatic personality. So
Hmm.
that is first phase of movement. But what happens when you get attracted by a personality, you go close, and when you go close, then you also know the dark side of that personality.
Hmm.
Slowly,
Correct.
slowly. Every personality has white and dark side, bright
Yes.
and dark side. So when people understand the dark side of that personality, then their contribution in the movement, because they are attracted to the movement's objective through a person. So actually, they are attracted by an objective, a mission, but
Hmm.
through a person. And when they come near to the person, they, if they realize that there are some lacunas in that personality, then they should not actually focus on that lacuna. They should
Yes.
focus on the objective. Only then they will remain together.
Hmm.
Otherwise, when I learn that this is the lacuna in my instrument, in my selection, then I'll leave that selection aside and I'll go for search of the other. To keep that not happen, you need to focus on objective, and that is the function of the leader. Leader should always try to focus his followers on objective. Kanshiram did that. Kanshiram very skillfully, he helped people to focus on objective. When people focus on objective, then the lighter side of his personality, the dark side of his personality was neglected by the people, and he taught them to neglect that and focus
Hmm.
on the objective. You focus on the positive side, don't focus on the negative side, because we have to draw results. So
Hmm.
that happen. But what happens in the second phase, you then focus on the ideology and objective of the movement. In the first phase, you focus on personality
Hmm.
to just get connected. That becomes the only the medium of
Hmm.
your
Media.
connected to mission. The second phase, you focus on development of the ideology together. Those who are gathered now they will focus on the ideology, how to achieve this objective. They
Hmm.
develop idea to achieve that objective. So second phase, ideology is developed. And in third phase, when you develop ideology, then you need to bring more people to act upon that ideology, that idea.
Hmm.
And to maintain more people together, to sustain that effort, you need organization. So there are
Hmm.
three phases in the movement. One is charismatic mobilization, second
Hmm.
ideological
Hmm.
mobilization, and third is organizational mobilization, and that is called the phase of institutionalization.
Hmm. Hmm.
Developing an organization and developing an institution to bring new social order, to give alternative to the existing social order, to give new human resource that can act upon the aspired destination, the aspired mission, aspired objective. You need organized force, and for keeping organized force together, you need organization and its discipline, rule, regulation, everything, formally or
Hmm.
informally. Okay, and movements
Okay.
are normally, by and large, they function informally. But when they become institutionalized, when they form organization and in large population, then they have to formalize it. They have to
Normally.
formalize the rules of their transaction of energy, their association, their relationship with each other. They have to
Hmm.
define rules, they have to define function, they have to define the work that they are doing, and they have to also define the incentive. They have to maintain them together, and they have to carry forward the karma. That becomes the karma then. So karma has two phases before, one personality and other is ideology. So in Kanshiram's movement, we can study and come to this conclusion that his personality was very much attractive and charismatic. Even
Yes.
he brought Mayawati, her personality was also again
Hmm.
uh, charismatic to some extent.
Yeah.
But when it came to maintain the ideology and convert that into a organization, by that time Kanshiram passed away, and Mayawati was not able to maintain whatever little cadre he organized and give them a discipline in the organization that could not be institutionalized.
And
So institutionalized is the weaker side.
so another
Ma-
question here.
yes, yes, okay.
Yeah. So in this process, if
Huh.
you make the Brahmins also as a part of your organization, then what will happen?
Oh, it's a very
This is
interesting
what
question.
I can see, So that is why I'm asking the question because
Yes, 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 and that is the larger question. Any person in the who is interested in our movement should ask and reflect upon. See, at the very beginning, in between, also when you intervened and you asked me that question, what is their role, where Brahmins come into picture in our movement? Then I said, because they are the problem creator, they cannot be the part of the solution formation. So they are the problem in this country. Their behavior, their conduct, their collective behavior, their organizations, they are the problem. We have to stop that. And those who are the problem creator, they cannot be the part of the problem solver. They
mm,
cannot be the part of solution.
yes.
Problem cannot be a solution. They are
Mm,
problem. So in solving the problem of misbehavior, wrong thinking, uh, you need to spot them separately. In the movement, you need to draw a line of demarcation. Who will be the part of solution? Who will be the part of organization that will bring new order? And those who are not found suitable, their character, because Baba Saheb Ambedkar in his one of very famous book, The Untouchable, he said that we cannot expect Brahmin to end the Brahminism. As like,
yes.
as
Yes.
like we cannot expect the Parliament of UK, United Kingdom, to bring a resolution that if anybody in their house born a baby born with blue eyes will be killed at the death, as and when that baby takes birth with blue eyes, the government should have a rule: blue eyes children will be killed at the death. That resolution cannot be passed in British Parliament. Same way, we cannot expect Brahmin to end Brahminism. Therefore, he
Very
said,
clear. Very
so,
clear.
and he said that still today, Brahmin have not produced any Voltaire amongst themselves. Voltaire,
Okay. Yeah.
Voltaire was a Christian missionary who was brought up by a Christian father of a church, and after when Voltaire became the father head of the church, he started movement against the system of the church. That honest, intellectually honest, the Voltaire was, And he was
mm,
respected during his time as a most honest intellectual, symbol of honesty, intellectual honesty. Baba Sahib has clearly said, Brahmins, I am giving you a challenge. You have not produced any volunteer. Today also that challenge is open to Brahmins. If they have
okay.
a courage to
Yes,
produce
yes,
a volunteer to end
yes.
the Brahminism in this country, they should come forward. One of my
Mm,
Brahmin friends, he said, why are you not making me part of your movement? Then I said, oh, definitely you can be subsidiary part of my movement. You organize your people and tell them, stop your inequality, stop your misbehavior, stop your Brahminical thought,
mm, mm.
and that will help me, because when that is stopped, I have nothing to do.
Okay. Another question, sir. I want to take another question. It's very clear that you have made it. And this
Yeah.
is the last question, by the way, I'm making. That what is the current scenario of the Bahujan movement and what improvement do we need? That's the last question.
In the current scenario of the Bahujan movement, when we say Bahujan, immediately BSP comes to our mind, and that is a political party. And people try to understand the status of Bahujan movement by understanding the status and performance of the Bahujan Samaj Party in the current scenario. In current scenario of Bahujan movement, Bahujan Samaj Party has gone down to the level that even the party members cannot imagine a single member parliament to go to the parliament, because in 2014 party failed to even get elected one single member parliament to the parliament.
Hmm.
And even in the state assembly of Uttar Pradesh, now that party has become the Uttar Pradesh party only. PSB is actually Uttar Pradesh BSP now. In no
Hmm.
other state party is vibrantly performing and has any hope to form their government in the other states. So the political status of the Bahujan movement in contemporary scenario is very bad, and people have lost hope in Bahujan Samaj Party under the leadership of Mayawati. She has gone to the level that her public promise that she will produce a leader after her, and she had said it, although it was not so good to say in the public. She said it, the person will be from my own caste, the person will be from my own family, and he will lead this movement. And then she brought Akash Anand as her representative. And when Akash Anand started functioning as the national coordinator of the Bahujan Samaj Party, within 2-3 years, now she has removed him from the primary membership of the party on the dictates of Brahmins, I think. I have the information that she is acting on the tunes and dictates of her masters in the Brahminical folds. Mayawati is not nowadays in a position to use her brain, to use her mind. She is acting on the dictates of the Brahminical social forces and Brahminical political forces. And that is the status of the Bahujan political movement in our country. And they had posed a challenge to the Bahujan movement very, very early in the 90s, when in 1993 the Brahminical forces said PSP is not the Bahujan party, because Bahujan means majority and majority is Congress. Actual Bahujan party is the Congress party. That was the argument they were articulating in 94. When they
Hmm.
articulated it like that, Khapade Saab, to whom Kanshiram considered him as his guru, Khapade is the guru of Kanshiram in terms of ideology and movement. Khapade took effort, took pain to sit down in the library and bring answer to their question, and said Mulnivasis are Bahujan, and Bahujan can be, Mulnivasis are Bahujans, and somebody can be Bahujan only he is Mulnivasi, because migrators are always in less number.
Hmm.
Brahmins are 3.5% in the country, and they are the migrators. Therefore, their population is low. Migrators always are less in number. Brahmins are less in number in this country. They are not the aboriginal of these countries, and they
What
cannot
change we
be.
need, sir?
Therefore, they cannot be Bahujan. Migrators cannot be Bahujan in any country, not in India. And therefore, he brought a solution to this question. Who are Bahujan? Mool Nivasis are Bahujan. The Aboriginal people are majority people in this
Hmm.
country.
Hmm.
That solution is brought.
Indigenous people.
Bahujan Samaj Party did not brought the solution. Rather, under the leadership of Mayawati, Bahujan Samaj Party became Sarvajan Samaj Party. She included
Yes.
all. I mean, she appointed her secretary as
Hmm.
Sajit Chandra Mishra as her secretary, a Brahmin fellow, and he is suggesting, he is operating for her on his directions, and through his fold, Mayavati is being operated. That is the sad state
But
of the Bahujan movement in this
what
country.
change we
And
need?
in Bahujan movement, that status has ruined. Bahujan movement went to ruin only because Mayavati included Brahmins in her political organization. She appointed general secretary and she gave more seat to Brahmins in seat distribution in political scenario of the Uttar Pradesh, and in all India conditions, Brahmins are given more tickets and more than their requirement, more than their due share, and that has brought ruin to this movement. Therefore, the lesson is we should not involve the problem creator in the process of problem solving. So Brahmins cannot be the part of Bahujan movement. They are real minority in this country. They are the outsiders to this country. They are alien to this country, and they are not the Bahujans. And to succeed the movement of Bahujan, to bring constitution into reality, all the foreign element, all the align element, the Brahminical element, they need to be removed from the organizations of the Bahujans. And that is what I think.
So that is the need you said it. Okay. I
Yeah,
think
that is my last conclusion.
uh, thank you so much. I think any your last message you want to, any recommendation from your side at the last message.
My last message, because this is you are producing this interview on the occasion of 15th March, that is the birth anniversary, birth date of Kanshiram.
Perfect.
My message on this occasion is that to bring change in the society, we need leader like Kanshiram. But Kanshiram as a person and Kanshiram as a leader of our organization, they are two different things. Kanshiram as a person had some lighter and some brighter side of his personality. So we should focus on his the brighter side of his personality, which was useful for the development of our movement, creation of the Bahujan movement, and lighter side we need to forget. We need to forget that trauma, because that lighter side actually has brought trauma to our movement. His lighter decision to involve Mayavati without having thorough discussion in the organization, he himself selected Mayavati and promoted her. That decision has brought ruin to our movement during this scenario, during these times. So, from that, we should take a lesson. From Ashoka's movement, we took a lesson that when Brihadratha appointed Pushyamitra Shunga as his head of the military defense forces, and that Pushyamitra Shunga killed Brihadratha, that was the mistake in our movement in the past
Hmm.
during the golden time of our country, and during the golden time of the constitutions, when the Bahujan movement emerged like a mountain of our aspirations, to which the Brahminical forces were not even thinking of able to be countering.
Hmm.
That mountain has collapsed due to the involvement of Mayavati without organizational discussion, without proper system to maintain her in this organization, and that we should take a lesson. That now our movement has reached to the stage of institutionalization. In institutionalization, we'll have to form certain rules and regulations to appoint our leaders, and we should also occasionally, periodically evaluate our leaders.
Hmm.
And on evaluation, we should further give them the responsibility. If they don't qualify that they can be further appointed, they should not be further appointed. And that is the system of democracy. We should adopt democracy to run our movement further. That is my message to our people as a leader of this organization, and even as a member of the Mulyavasi Bahujan Samaj. We have brought solution to our problem, to this problem, that involvement, to stop the involvement of the Brahminical forces in our movement. We have brought a new term, that is Mulyavasi. So Brahmins are not Mulyavasis. So your organization naturally will be Mulyavasis there. And for Mulyavasis also, if they are a bad character, we should have a system to treat that bad character. And if the character is giving some result, to that extent, that character should be involved. Character is producing bad result, that character should be stopped, should be put to punishment, and should be used to the extent it is only useful. And
Yeah.
for that, democracy is the solution. Through democracy only we can produce institutional leadership, and through institutional leadership we can overcome the dark side of the leadership problem in the movement. That is the message today. On this occasion, I salute to the dedication of Kanshiram. May not be the letter of the Kanshiram which gave us that I would like myself and the viewers to forget about,
Hmm.
because some contribution is there and some failure is also there. So
Yeah.
I salute to his contribution. I salute to his great personality to which that inspired us and our leaders, because I did not work with him directly. I saw him leading the movement. I participated, listened to him. But my great leaders, amongst whom Mr. Borkar is still alive today and he's leading us, no, we listen to him. We know what problems occurred during that time, and we resolve to forget the darker side, and we resolve to take into light the brighter side of his personality and his movement. That we should dedicate more dedication, and dedication is the solution to take forward the karwa of full Ambedkarism, to take forward the karwa of the equality, to take forward the karwa constitutionalism in this country, and democratic, uh, building a democratic society, social, bringing social democracy.
Thank you so much. I mean, the very kind word you have said, democratic organization, we need democratic leaders, democratic system. I think that is what we are, and we are into the, I think you are into the creation of such kind of system also as an organization. Thank you so much for, taking your time, and, it has gone beyond the time, but the discussion was so interesting, discussion was so informative that our, everybody should know it. This recording will remain forever, on the YouTube channels, and so people can watch anytime. Thank you so much, sir. We will end this program here.
Thank
Jabim,
you very
Jabim.
much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dear friends, as you have watched this today's discussion, I think I would like to request you that please do follow this, subscribe this, and share to your family and friends, and keep watching every day 8:30 p.m. this MNT News Network. This will be a very revolutionary. This will bring a revolutionary change into your family and society. Thank you so much. Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi, Jai Samvidhan, Jai Bharat.